Instant noodles are a quick and easy meal for many today, but there was a time when they were seen as a luxury. So who came up with the idea and how are they made? There's a lot to cover that'll blow your mind, so make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The birth of instant noodles. The world of food was forever changed in 1958 when a man named Momofuku Ando introduced something so simple yet revolutionary. These were instant noodles, and they took the world by storm. At a time when Japan was still recovering from the devastation of World War II, food shortages were a major problem, and people needed easy-to-make meals on the go. Ando, a businessman with a deep interest in food innovation, saw an opportunity to create something that could feed the masses, without requiring much effort or resources. The funny thing is, he wasn't a scientist or a trained chef, but he was a problem solver, and he believed that peace would come to the world when there is enough food. But Ando's journey towards inventing instant noodles wasn't easy. He experimented tirelessly in his small backyard shed, trying to figure out how to make noodles that could be stored for long periods, cooked quickly and still taste good. And after months of trial and error, he discovered the secret. But we'll talk about that later in the video. He called his creation chicken ramen. And when it hit the market, it wasn't an instant hit in the way you'd expect. In fact, it was considered a luxury item. While today instant noodles are seen as one of the cheapest meals you can buy, back then a single pack of chicken ramen cost more than fresh udon or soba noodles at a restaurant. But why? Well, the complex production process and the innovative technique behind the product made it more expensive to produce than traditional noodles. So at that time, only those who could afford the convenience and novelty of instant ramen were willing to buy it. But despite the high price, chicken ramen gained popularity, especially among busy professionals and wealthier families who appreciated the convenience. People were fascinated by the idea of making a meal by simply adding hot water. It was like magic, and a futuristic way of eating that felt modern and advanced. The sleek packaging, the rich chicken flavor, and the fact that it could be stored for long periods without spoiling all contributed to its appeal. So it wasn't just food, it was a symbol of progress. And as demand for chicken ramen grew, Ando realized he was onto something bigger than just a one-time invention. He officially established his company, Nissin, and continued to refine and expand his instant noodle empire. His dream wasn't just to feed Japan, but to create a product that could be enjoyed worldwide. Over the years, though, the price of instant noodles eventually dropped as production methods improved, making them affordable for everyone. But in those early days, instant noodles weren't just a cheap meal for college students. They were a high-end convenience food, and a luxury born from necessity and innovation. From wheat flour to noodles. So how are instant noodles made in a factory today? Hit the subscribe button as we dive into the process. You see, it all begins with wheat flour, the backbone of every noodle. But flour alone isn't enough to create the springy, delicious noodles we all love. In massive industrial mixers, the flour is combined with water, salt, and sometimes alkaline ingredients like kansui, which gives the noodles their signature chewy texture and slightly yellowish color. The mixing process is crucial, as it ensures the dough forms properly and develops the right consistency for the next steps. Once the dough is ready, it's left to rest for a short time, allowing the gluten to develop, which helps give the noodles its structure. After resting, the dough is rolled out into large, thin sheets using giant rollers. These rollers gradually press the dough thinner and thinner, creating the perfect smooth and even texture. Factories use precise measurements to control the thickness, ensuring that every batch of noodles is uniform. And once the dough reaches the desired thinness, it moves on to the cutting stage, where specialized blades slice it into long, thin strands at lightning speed. But of course, the width of the cut varies depending on the type of noodle being produced. Some brands prefer thicker noodles, while others go for the thin, delicate ones. At this point, the noodles are still raw, so they need to be cooked slightly to give them that soft yet firm texture. And this is done through steaming. The freshly cut noodle strands are sent through a steaming tunnel, where high-temperature steam cooks them just enough to make them pliable. Keep in mind that the steaming process is carefully timed. If it's too little, the noodles won't hold their shape properly, and if it's too much, they'll become mushy. But once they're perfectly steamed, they move on to the next stage, where they're given their classic wavy shape. To create those wavy noodle blocks that fit so neatly into their packaging, the steamed noodles are portioned and molded into the familiar brick-like shape. This is done using metal trays or molds that press and fold the noodles into the right form. But the shaping process is not just for aesthetics, as it also helps the noodles cook evenly when boiling water is added later. Now comes a crucial step in making instant noodles truly instant, and that's the dehydration process. Factories use two main methods to remove moisture: deep frying or air drying. In most cases, the noodles are fried in hot oil at temperatures between 140 and 150 degrees Celsius. This process rapidly removes water from the noodles, making them light, crispy, and able to be stored for long periods without spoiling. The frying also gives the noodles a slightly richer flavor and helps create those tiny air pockets that allow them to rehydrate quickly when hot water is added. For brands that opt for air drying instead, the noodles go through a special dehydration chamber where warm air removes moisture over a longer period, resulting in a different texture. So the instant noodles are ready, but the production process isn't over yet. They still need to be packaged. Make sure to subscribe if you're curious to see how it all comes together. Creating the flavor packets. Now the magic of instant noodles isn't just in the noodles themselves. It's in that little seasoning packet that transforms a plain block of dried noodles into a warm, flavorful meal. These tiny sachets may look simple, but a lot of work goes into creating the perfect blend of spices, seasoning, and enhancers that give each brand its signature taste. The process starts with carefully selecting the ingredients, and salt is always a key component, as it helps bring out the flavor of everything else. Then, depending on the type of noodle, various spices like garlic powder, onion powder, ginger, black pepper, or chili powder are added. Some packets even include dried herbs like parsley or chives for an extra kick. To achieve that rich, savory taste, many brands also use flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, or MSG for short, which intensifies the umami flavor. Now, MSG has been debated over the years, but in reality, it's just a compound naturally found in foods like tomatoes and cheese that helps bring out the best in other flavors. Some brands avoid MSG and use yeast extract or mushroom powder instead to achieve a similar taste. Other ingredients like sugar, soy sauce powder, and dehydrated vegetables may be included to balance the flavors and add depth. Once all these ingredients are selected, they are blended together in large mixers. The mixing process ensures that every bit of the powder has an even distribution of salt, spices, and enhancers, so the taste is consistent in every bite. The mixture is then dried into a fine powder, making it easy to store and preventing it from clumping. Some seasoning packets also contain small dried meat or vegetable pieces like shrimp powder, beef extract, or tiny bits of dehydrated carrots, green onions, or corn. These not only add to the taste but also give the noodles a more textured, satisfying experience. After the seasoning blend is ready, it's time for packaging. The powder is measured precisely to ensure the right amount goes into each packet. Too little and the noodles might taste bland, too much and the saltiness could be overwhelming. High-speed machines fill small packets with the seasoning powder, and these packets are then sealed tightly to keep moisture out. This airtight sealing prevents clumping and keeps the seasoning fresh until you're ready to tear it open and mix it into your noodles. Some brands also include separate oil or sauce packets alongside the seasoning powder to enhance the flavor further. These could be chili oil, sesame oil, or even a thick soy-based sauce, depending on the type of noodles. These liquid packets add richness and a bit of extra depth, making the final dish taste even more like a freshly made bowl of ramen. At the end of the process, these seasoning packets are paired with the dried noodle blocks and packed together in the familiar plastic or paper wrapping, waiting to be cooked into a quick and delicious meal. It's a simple yet fascinating process, proving that even the smallest details in instant noodles play a huge role in delivering that comforting, flavorful experience. If you're enjoying the breakdown so far, don't forget to subscribe for more insights into how your favorite foods are made. What about the cups? When you crack open a Nissin cup noodle, you're not just getting a quick snack. You're getting a meal that's been carefully packaged to keep the flavors intact and the noodles in perfect shape. But how are these little cups of joy packaged? And how does quality control work to ensure you're getting the best noodle experience every time? First off, the packaging is not just for looks. It's actually a crucial part of the instant noodles journey from factory to your kitchen. Nissin uses a combination of durable materials like plastic for the cups and airtight wrappers for the noodles. The noodles are carefully pre-cooked before they're placed inside the cups, which helps to preserve the flavor and texture while ensuring they rehydrate easily once hot water is added. The sealing process is super tight, ensuring that no moisture gets in before you're ready to add that boiling water. It's kind of like a little waiting game until you get to release the deliciousness inside. Now, when it comes to quality control, Nissin doesn't mess around. Every single cup of noodles goes through multiple layers of checks to ensure that what you're eating is top-notch. The noodles themselves are made with a perfect balance of ingredients, and the manufacturing process is super precise, as machines are calibrated to make sure every noodle is the same size, shape, and consistency. This helps the noodles cook evenly and guarantees that no matter which cup you grab, it'll be delicious. Once the noodles are cooked, the seasoning packets or the flavorful broth in some cups are carefully measured and added. Nissin uses advanced technology to ensure that the right amount of seasoning gets into each package. Too much salt? Nope. Too little flavor? Not on their watch. The seasoning is just right, and each cup gets sealed perfectly to keep the aroma and flavor locked in until you add hot water. But it doesn't end there, because Nissin's quality control extends all the way to their taste testing. Yes, real humans who are trained taste testers try out the noodles to make sure they meet Nissin's high standards. From flavor to texture, they check everything before the noodles hit the store shelves, and if something's off, back to the drawing board. Finally, they maintain strict cleanliness standards throughout the entire process, ensuring that everything is hygienic and safe. Yeah, the factories are designed with top-notch sanitation in mind, and the packaging is carefully done to make sure there's no contamination. So what noodle flavor is your best? Let us know in the comments below, and if you want to learn more about how things are made from scratch, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.